everybody, it's Allie and welcome to our Y&R Chat for Sunday, August 20th, 2017. Finally, the moment that I've been waiting for, I know a lot of you have been waiting for. Ashley and Ravi finally make love at the Abbott cabin. Was it everything that we've been waiting for? That's my poll question of the week. YRChat.com. Are Ashley and Ravi a super couple or just super awkward? Because I'm going to be honest with you guys, something about Ashley and Ravi didn't feel quite right to me. I was really disappointed. I was geared up to really get into this first time love-making session for these two, and I really kind of felt let down. I don't know if maybe it was the bebop music behind the scene or just the fact that we've waited so long to get here, and there were big gaps of time before we got here that maybe it fizzled out for me. I don't know, maybe you guys will not agree with me. I am really interested to get your votes and your comments at yrchat.com on this topic, because it's something like this older woman, younger man dynamic is something I've been waiting to get into, and just specifically the clash of the two different worlds, Ashley and her upper crust upbringing, and Ravi with a little bit more of his sort of street geeky sensibility. I really thought that this was going to be a great pairing, but something about those scenes, and I watched them twice, like thinking, is it me? What's going on here? I went back, watched them twice, and something seemed different. Specifically, I feel like Ashley didn't seem committed to her decision, and in a way, I almost wonder if something about it made Eileen Davidson, the actress, feel a little bit uncomfortable. Like, I felt like either Ashley or Eileen was not completely committed to what was going on in the scene. I mean, afterwards, Ashley did tell Ravi that she didn't regret anything. I mean, come on, she knew what she was doing. She knew she was gonna set up this moment for them when she invited him to the cabin. She said she didn't regret it. All of her words said, this is what I want, but something in her face, something in her demeanor didn't match that. The other thing is that even Ravi seemed more timid than usual. He was treating her like she was made of glass a little bit, just in my observation. I don't know, I guess I just wanted this relationship to be like transformative for them both. I wanted Ravi to just go in and take Ashley. Like, I wanted to see a different side of him, and I wanted him to just rock her world. Like, she's dated these big, rich, mogul type guys and thought that they had all the power, and I just would have liked to have seen Ravi take a little bit of that power and say, there's different types of power, and just really give it to her. Rip open that white blouse. I wanted to see buttons flying everywhere. This is the moment that Ravi has been waiting for. How many times do you think he lied alone in his bed at night thinking about this moment? And now here it is. Make it worth the wait. Instead, it almost felt like two teenagers to me. I wonder if Maddie and Reed's first lovemaking session would have been less awkward. I'm not sure if you guys felt that way. Maybe you guys loved it, but to me, like, I'm imagining what happened inside the bedroom, and like, in my mind, the whole thing probably only lasted 5 minutes, if you know what I mean. I just have a feeling that something about Ravi, I don't know if it was a go all night type of a situation. I wonder if there was any part of Ashley that was a little disappointed maybe in the way that I was. I shouldn't rip on it too much because I really love these two. I did enjoy the setup of it too. I liked the fact that Ashley's inviting Ravi into her family home, and even before we saw them interact, we saw Ashley being flooded with memories of being up at the cabin with her father. She's reminiscing about the good times, but also the sad times. We saw another sort of, you know, the created flashback scene of a younger John and a younger Ashley, and she is talking to him, realizing that he's sad, and he's confiding in her that he misses their mother, that their mother has gone off, left them, and he's sad about it. There is something about the flashback version of younger John that does make him come off as just sort of like depressed and a little bit just weak, which is different, I suppose, than the more mature John that we saw later on. Of course, it's all just been created in retrospect, but it was a nice touch that we've had Jack thinking about his past as it relates to John and Dina, and now here we are having Ashley with her family connection too. I thought it was great. I loved that Ravi was there to listen to her talking about her feelings from that time. She was only 11 when her mother left them. I loved that she allowed herself to open up to him. I loved that he was there to support her and to make some wild mushroom risotto for her. How hilarious was it when he came in with a shirt full of mushrooms? Fun fact, my dad is a mushroom hunter, so we always have in the spring morel mushrooms. I know how to find them. Of course, he's the expert master morel mushroom finder. They're out of season right now, so there's no way there would be those mushrooms in Wisconsin right now. It's too hot, but I just thought that was kind of fun that he came in with that, and I had a connection to that moment. That's something that just as a viewer in the Midwest, I suppose, connected me to it. I was not surprised at all that Ravi reveals he was an Eagle Scout. I mean, he's with a merit badge in mushrooms. Way to go, Ravi. I mean, in a way, that was also Ravi sharing a part of his world and of his life with Ashley in the same way that she had shared hers with him. I see, the thing is, after they went to back to Genoa City, everything seemed fine. They were at the office, sort of business as usual, but gosh, I wonder if it was just this one little gem moment for them both in the woods. I wonder if they can actually take this relationship and make the leap out of the woods and into real life in Genoa City. Now that Dina is in full swing at her job at Chabot, she's actually getting down to some business, and she submits the first part of her big project that she's working on to Jack, and Jack notices that her report includes some numbers that were a little transposed. Jack tries to rationalize it at first, saying, well, you know, I mean, it's math. You get off at the beginning and then you're off for the whole rest of the equation, but it is a little odd considering it's her first try, and this is a woman who's run a multinational conglomerate. She should be able to submit accurately this simple report, and there is a moment where Jack wonders if maybe there's a reason that she has stepped down from her company. Maybe there's a reason that Graham was encouraging her to sell it. Maybe wasn't able to run her company anymore if she was kind of slipping. So Dina doesn't realize that she made this mistake. She has had a wonderful first day at the office, or whatever, first week. I don't know what the timeline would have been, but she goes back to her hotel room suite where Graham is, and she's telling him him she had such a great day. Everything went very well. Graham expresses an interest in her project and asks if he can take a look at her report. She says, sure, go ahead, take a look. Well, as soon as Graham looks at it, he realizes that that mistake is there. I don't know how he could have known that, but he did. So it must have been pretty glaringly obvious. So Graham goes on. He decides to correct Dina's mistake and clue her in about it a little bit. And of course, she's embarrassed. She wanted to do a good job, and also she's nervous that now Jack's gonna find out. And I mean, it's not a good look on her in her mind. So Graham corrects the report for her, which I viewed as being a caretaker type of a move. But it seems like most of you guys are starting to see Graham in a no good Nick sort of way. Last week's poll question was, do you think Graham's a good guy or is he up to no good? And 60% of you said no good. He's up to no good at all. I'm sure it doesn't help that he is talking with Gloria, getting reports from Jabot, from Gloria, but there was something in the way that he was still caring for her and trying to protect her that made me think, well, maybe he is a good guy. Of course, that can turn on a dime at any moment. Just a quick note on Graham. I saw a comment on the website. I'm trying to think of who it was from. I can't remember right off the top of my head, but someone had speculated that maybe Graham is a child of Dina and Victor's. I thought that was such a perceptive prediction. So that, I mean, wow, I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was, but really that would be something. That would be something. It would connect Graham into the other characters at Genoa City. We already have seen reasons why Dina seems a little protective of Victor. She seems to want to foster that connection with Victor. So I thought that was really insightful. Who knows if that's how it will pan out, but that could be the twist around Graham. I mean, I think we're all kind of almost waiting for a twist around Graham. We're trying to find out what it is about him, and you never know. It could be something that could keep him in Genoa City. I would like that. I think that this actor particularly has some potential to give us range, and so, as opposed to some of the other new characters that we've had added on the show that are a little wishy-washy, I don't feel super passionate about. I feel like Graham, good guy or bad guy, could definitely add some interest to the show. Now, he helps Dina with her report, and she decides to be a little proactive with Jack. She takes Graham's corrected report back to the office and tells Jack, I'm sorry, I made this mistake, but here it is. Well, immediately that alleviates any concerns that Jack had about her. Excellent. It's all good. Okay, she made a mistake, but she caught it. That's completely understandable and forgivable. But I'm wondering if we are going to continue to see little things starting to slip from Dina here or there. Maybe just something that is little, maybe something that is big. Dina is also still very, very perceptive. She is hanging around the office. I think she's very aware of the things that are going on with Jack. In fact, she met Billy for the first time this week. I thought they had a cute little interaction. Dina probably thought he was sexy. She didn't say it, but I'm imagining that Dina was like, but she, meets Billy, and she understands that there's a feud going on between Jack and Billy, and she did express some concern about the family. So it's also interesting to see Dina, who was not interested in her family, abandoned her family, now is wanting to mend some of the pieces that are broken, even with extended family. But I also wondered if Dina is going to try to bridge that gap between Jack and Billy, and maybe even letting something slip to Billy by accident, whether it's about Jabot's company secrets or even just parts of Jack's dastardly etc. plans. Brash and Sassy is in real financial trouble. Victoria can't even get a loan from a bank. She's Victoria Newman. She's got personal assets. I don't know why she wouldn't just secure the loan with her personal assets, but that's probably not good business sense. But I just thought, well, shoot, there's just no options for a cosmetics company like this. I suppose there must be very tight purse strings right now in the financial industry. And adding insult to injury, Jack decides to jack up the rent prices on the lab in the Jabot building. So it's going to tap them out to continue to pay this rent, and it would probably cost him more to move and to find a new facility. And of course, Jack knows all of this. He's been puppet mastering behind the scenes to make sure of it, to do anything he can to make sure that Victoria continues to be in these dire straits so that she'll turn to Ben Hockman, and then he'll have a little bit of an in with Brash and Sassy, or at least a little bit of influence. Phyllis realized just on the Friday show, I think, that Jack is not only working to go after Brash and Sassy because of business reasons and Victoria, he also is having a dual revenge purpose here. He would like to get back at Billy, and Phyllis realizes this and decides to tell Jack this week that she's out. She's all in for any plan about Brash and Sassy that keeps Victoria occupied away from Billy, but she's not in on Jack's plans if they include hurting Billy. So, since the Brash and Sassy budget is basically non-existent now, Victoria has to start making some difficult decisions and cutting some staffs, and specifically the DARE campaign, which means that she has to put Lily's job on hold indefinitely. So let's just do a little check here, bringing it full circle. Kane's lies and mistakes have officially cost both of them their jobs. Lily had a few moments where she was the sole breadwinner, and now because Juliet's lawsuit has drained the company of all of their funds, there's no work for Lily there either. So they both have to go out looking for other options, as well as Victoria. Victoria is running out of options. In fact, she is so out of options, and also dealing with a head injury, which for some reason she refuses to just go back to the doctor for, when she's already been to the doctor and he already scolded her for the fact that she didn't come in and seek treatment for her concussion. She decides to go to Ben Hockman and tell him that she's open to an offer. She's really got nobody else. She is already sleeping with him and kind of developing a personal relationship with him, which you can tell she doesn't want to mix with business, but she goes to him and says, I just want a bridge loan. I'm not trying to offer you a piece of the company. I just need some funding. You'll make a little bit of money as soon as the company gets back on track. Ben probably agrees, mostly because he's into her. He draws up a contract, and she is looking it over and really strongly considering signing it. Actually, I think that the smarter decision for Victoria might possibly be to go to her father at this point. I think that she would probably have a better ability to negotiate with Victor than with Ben. I think it would be a little more risky going to an outside investor, because at the end of the day, would you rather Victor end up with your company or owning a piece of it, or some stranger? Then again, it's probably just all about Victoria's pride. I still wouldn't doubt it if Victor found a way to swoop in and save Brash and Sassy somehow, some way. Actually, James had left a comment on the yrchat.com website saying that he feels like Y&R is intentionally putting Nick and Victoria into dire straits so that they'll end up having to go to Victor for money. And I think that's a real possibility. Nick is starting to extend, maybe overextend, I don't know, with himself with these undergrounds locations, and then Victoria with her issues. I think that's probably a pretty good prediction. Of course, Billy and Victor agree on something, and they actually go to Victoria to try to talk her out of signing this contract, while Kane is trying to talk Ben into letting him spill Brash and Sassy secrets to him in exchange for like a secret job, in exchange for money, in exchange for a covert operation. Kane tells Ben, I've got all kinds of knowledge about this company. All you gotta do is pay me and I will give it to you. I keep seeing Kane walking around the athletic club. He's probably staying, well, he's staying with Jill, but he's still at the athletic club ordering a probably expensive scotch. I just keep thinking, you don't have any money. You don't even have any money to be spending at the bar. I don't know. I'm mad at Kane right now. I wish he would stop blaming Victoria. It feels like a lot of his strategy right now for getting ahead is to screw over Victoria. Didn't he learn his lesson at all? Kane's been given so many opportunities to learn lessons, and he just isn't doing it. He needs to start accepting some blame for what he's done and correct himself onto the right path. Victoria didn't do anything to him. Unless I missed something, I don't think Victoria is intentionally trying to blackball him from the industry at all. I think he screwed up and now he can't find another job in the cosmetics industry, or specifically he can't find any kind of executive job. But this is the real world, Kane. It doesn't have to be an executive position that you take. It doesn't even have to be in your field. You have a family. Walmart is hiring. Go out, make some money. There's plenty of jobs that you can do. Go be a roofer. You'll make tons of money in the summer. Oh, but he's too good for that. Mad at Kane right now. I think that Benjamin wants to have his cake and eat it too. I think that he'd like to have a piece of Victoria and her company at the same time. It's funny because he really seems like he's putting it on thick. He seems legitimately interested in her. Like he would love to just woo her, and she just has this look on her face like, I don't know, I just don't think so. Right as she's about to sign his contract, she walks into his hotel room and happens to see Kane's phone number written on a piece of paper right on Ben's coffee table, and she realizes that Kane has gotten to him. She understands that even at the very least, there's enough information out there now that should give her major pause to not sign this contract. They end up getting into this huge fight. She tears up the contract. They argue all the way out into the hall, letting everything air about their personal relationship, about the status of her company needing those funds, the dire straits that her company's in. I mean, she's talking pretty much about everything there, and who should be standing in the shadows with a video camera, with a phone camera? Hillary. This is right up Hillary's alley, too, because what was the line? Ben said something like, you couldn't get enough of the hawk a couple days ago, and now it's a different story. I just thought that was a funny line. It probably is the perfect kind of gossip for the Hillary hour. It's a hot tell-all. And of course, Hillary runs right back to the studio to air the story. She doesn't tell anybody about what the story's about. She just airs it. She just goes for it. Ugh, Hillary. I keep thinking back to the comment that Superplex left last week that I read in the comments section about a scene between Hillary and Ben where Ben was complimenting her about her show and about how she was conducting herself with her show, only for her to turn around a week later and expose him and his relationship with Victoria. It's tough because I am here every week wanting to defend Hillary, and then she does something like this. It just seems so unnecessary. Like, what was she saying about wanting to do good with her show, wanting to change and represent people? And she has given many speeches where she says, I want to do good with my show. I want to be a legitimate journalist. I want to be respected. And then she turns around and she's so shady. It's entertaining, of course. But at the same time, I wonder how thin it's going to start to wear. The part of me wondered this week, even though Hillary does add the spice to the show, she's definitely a troublemaker, and I like that about her. I do kind of wonder if this is a sign of the wheels starting to come off of the old writing team. I wonder if these are the types of stories that we're starting to get some questionable looks around the time when things started to go wrong with Sally Sussman K. Alden. I don't know. That's pure speculation, but part of me feels like Hillary can't decide what she wants to be, and that's not a fault. I mean, that's a fault of the writers, of course. And in a way, I feel like the audience is Devon. I think a lot of people do want Hillary and Devon to be reconnected, reunited. I feel like a lot of people do want to like Hillary, but I wonder, it's like we as the audience are like Devon in that we want Hillary to be better, to at least like try to be better, and then she goes off and does something unnecessarily bad. So I just am worried that eventually the audience is going to follow suit with Devon and be done with her. Well, you're not gonna believe this. If you're watching the video right now, you probably are noticing that my lips are not moving. The power went out right in the middle of Y&R Chat. How rude. I have no lights, no air. That for some reason, the power outage made my daughter wake up, so it's probably because it's hot. It's gonna get hot in here really quick. So I'm gonna just keep blazing on as quickly as I can. If the power comes back, then I will turn on the video. If you hear my daughter babbling in the background, I'm sorry, but I'm just gonna keep on keeping on here. The show must go on. A point I wanted to make was that I thought Lily made a good point this week about the acting job. She said, you know what, the part wasn't mine to take, but Hillary didn't exactly play it straight either. And I thought that made sense. That was a good rational way to look at it. I tended to think that was not one of the worst things that Hillary ever has done, but I give some credit there that was a fair point. I think more than anything else, Lily is starting to realize that the rewards for being a good person are not that much. I mean, she can look at herself in contrast to Hillary, who can kind of do what she wants, get away with it, and from Lily's perspective, getting away with it. Of course, Hillary's lost her marriage. She's lost quite a few things, if you think about it. But I think that from Lily's perspective, she's seeing herself in contrast to that, realizing I try to be a good person and I still get the short end of the stick. My relationship, my family, my job, especially her job at this point. That was kind of the last straw. Neil was actually, in parentheses, almost able to save Lily's job. After things go awry with Victoria and Ben's deal, Victoria goes to Neil. I mean, Hamilton Winters, they are making acquisitions, they have funding, and on the larger issue, it's Victoria going to the bank of Lily's dad, which Neil tried to offer to Lily directly. If you guys need help, I'll just give you the money, but this works out even better. Neil and Devon can extend this loan to Victoria. It also was able to bring up a little bit of history between of Neil and Victoria's relationship. I thought that was excellent. I loved that Victoria and Neil took the time to say, remember when we were involved? You know, I mean, I remember that. It was a fast and fastly gone type of relationship, but I thought it was good that they brought it up and that Neil was able to help. I just wonder, though, if the scandal that Hillary's bringing to light on the Hillary Hour right now will affect Victoria's ability to move forward with the DARE campaign, if it will affect her ability to move forward with her business. I wonder if that loan is going to be revoked now that this scandal is out, or I don't know. I wonder if Lily maybe won't want a job when she finds out that it came through her father. I think it's interesting that Jordan was talking about going back to New York this week to look for work. It's right as this whole sex ring thing is heating up. I just keep wanting to connect him to that for one reason or another. I'm waiting for him to turn out to be a no good Nick. But he is talking to Lily and he's encouraging her that she should just go look for jobs in New York. There's a lot of things that could be open to her there. And Lily says, you know what? I mean, I can't. I can't relocate to New York. I can't be going there all the time. I have kids. I have a family. I have roots here. And Jordan, don't you have roots here? Don't you have your relationship with Hillary? Well, that's when Jordan reveals that he does not have quite a so great relationship with Hillary. In fact, Jordan says Hillary is just jealous of you, Lily, because... And then Jordan declares his feelings for Lily. You know, he tries to be all sly about it at first, like, well, you know, it's because of you. Because I obviously care about you. And then he makes it increasingly obvious when he seals the whole thing with a kiss. In fact, I shouldn't even say he sealed it. They both sealed it. It was very slow and deliberate, to be honest with you. Like, Lily had plenty of time to pull back and say no, but she didn't. They kissed. I don't know if Kane's gonna walk in on that, or maybe one of the kids. I don't know. Careful, Lily. Be careful. You're still married. You are still married, and you've already been down the affair road. You're on shaky ground, girl. I don't think you want to ruin that good girl standing either. Or are you so fed up with being a good girl that you're ready to dare to be bad? Why is everybody treating Maddie like a little girl lost? I think she's doing remarkably well. There was a scene where Hillary reached out to Maddie at the club just to try to find out how she is, how the family's doing. They used to be related by marriage, but Maddie accuses Hillary of only being interested in talking to her to get a scoop for her show, and Hillary is so offended by that. I don't know why Hillary would expect Lily's children to embrace her with open arms. Lily and Hillary famously dislike each other. I would not be given hugs and turn into my mom's enemy. Oh, I think that Maddie wants to be understood, and she feels like no one in the world understands her the way that Reed does. She invites him over to her house while her parents are away. And I loved the scene of just them relaxing and being super adorable, listening to music. It was cute. Then, of course, one thing leads to another. They have a sweet little kiss, which leads to them making out on the couch. And Kane walks in on the whole thing. I did empathize with Kane a little bit because I think that from his perspective, he leaves the house for a couple of days and his sweet nerdy daughter has turned into a troubled teen. Oh, well, Kane tells Maddie, of course, that she shouldn't see Reed. Of course, it's all about him, just like it always is. You know, it's all about his feud with Victoria, the fact that he hates her and Reed is her son. I was kind of glad that Maddie stood up for herself, and she said, "How can I trust your judgment when you've shown such poor judgment lately?" I thought that was a good moment. I want Maddie to stand up for herself. I mean, it was maybe a little disrespectful, but Kane did apologize later either, and I thought it was totally reasonable. It's a hard transition for him to see his daughter from little girl to teenager making out on the couch. It was Lily, though, who reinforced it to Maddie that it's probably not a good idea to complicate the situation by dating Reed. And Lily also remembers her situation with Daniel and what it can be like to be in that forbidden type of relationship. And then it's Victoria really hasn't put down any major hard no's when it comes to Reed and this situation. She kind of just encourages him maybe to not do it. Billy reaffirms that to Reed too. I think that's what kind of makes the relationship work even more. The fact that Reed and Maddie want so badly to be together, but the powers that be when you're a teenager and you don't have control over your life and you have to ask for permission to do things, that's what creates the conflict there. It's harder. I want Maddie to be a bad girl and I want Reed to be a rebel. Christine stops by Crimson Lights this week to share the news about Crystal. They busted the pimp and found out that basically it's a small-time operation, so Christine can't really get involved. She leaves it to the local police. It just seems at this point in the story that Crystal's not part of the larger organized FBI sting sex ring situation. That's not good enough for Sharon, though. She has developed a connection and a concern for this girl, and she wants to help her, and Scott ends up coming up with a plan saying, you know what, don't let the cops handle it. Let's not leave this to the authorities. I'm gonna call this number and set up a meeting for a massage. He ends up trying to go through the same channels that a real person interested in this gross prostitution would go through. And he goes into this hotel room and ends up meeting this Russian girl who doesn't hardly speak any English, but he happens to know some Russian. So he talks to her and she reveals the very little bit of information that the mastermind of this whole thing is a woman. Like the person behind all of this sex ring is a woman. I just don't know who it could be. I keep wanting to speculate, like, could it be Tessa's mother or something? Because is Tessa connected to this somehow? Or I saw a couple comments on the website last week talking about Genoa City's, original OG baby stealer, Rose DeVille, who is played by Darlene Connolly, who I suppose later went on to play Sally Spectra on Bold and the Beautiful. I only know of that storyline in lore, but I don't know who it could be. Obviously it's not her, but I thought that was an interesting connection. I'd love to hear your theories on who the mystery woman is. Tessa ends up confiding in Mariah about the fact that Crystal is her sister. Note, Tessa confides in Mariah, not Noah. She does not want Noah to know about this at all. She had some excuse like she didn't want Noah to see her any differently, but if their relationship is as solid as they want to believe that it is, then Tessa should be able to confide in him as if he were her best friend. There shouldn't be eggshells that they're walking on. And if Tessa has nothing to hide, then why can't she just tell everybody that Crystal is her sister? What does she really have to lose here? I would just wonder if there's more to her connection to the whole thing. Well, for now, Mariah is the only one who knows, and Tessa and Mariah are being kept in the loop as Sharon and Scott continue to investigate the situation. I don't know. I have a feeling the storyline is going to end up tearing apart more than one relationship. Victor arranges for Jordan to take headshots for all 2 of the Newman Enterprises employees, Abby and Scott. There were no other executives in the photos. It was just Abby and Scott and Victor on a photo shoot. That was kind of funny. It's just so obvious what's going on here between Abby and Scott. Even Jordan remarks on the fact that they have chemistry. I don't know. I get that we're supposed to feel that way, but I worry then what it means for Sharon. Where does it leave Sharon being out in the cold again? Victor offers Abby the keys to Nick's old place, to the Tack House. And Abby's trying to decide whether or not she's going to accept them. She's clearly becoming the next chosen one, and that would be enough to make me hesitant, especially when it comes to Victor and his motives. But I imagine Abby is gonna be moving into that Tech House next week, and note that Tack House is right up the road from Sharon, Scott's girlfriend who he visits all the time. Since Nick has been evicted from the Big Victor house, he has to make some plans. Really, he should have been planning to move on his own. I can't believe that this is the first time that getting kicked out was the first time it occurred to him that he was going to have to move. But as expected, Nick decides he thinks it's time to move right in with Chelsea. She threw up some hesitation here, and I think there's a couple reasons. First of all, it is a big deal that this is the home she shared with Adam, and now she's gonna be co-raising Adam's son Christian, who Nick doesn't know is Adam's son. I think that Chelsea's more nervous than that she's being dishonest with Nick. I think that's an element of her hesitation. It's hard to start a fresh relationship with this big of a lie between them. I just think that Nick is totally oblivious and Chelsea's guilt is festering. Freedom, baby, freedom. That was last week's Who Said It quote. It was Nick rejoicing in the fact that he had just moved his money away from Victor's accounting manager or financial advisor, and he just had this great sense that he was now free from Victor's reign. Quite a few people guessed that was Nick. Sandra, John, Christopher, Heather, Nancy, Jillian, Beatrice, Henry, Diana, Ellen, and Ambreen. Congratulations, you guys. I have another Who Said It quote for you this week. It's just a little snippet of a line. Lumbar support pillow. It's a little bit of a tongue twister. Try saying it 3 times. Lumbar support pillow. I thought it was a moment. If you caught it, I think you'll know who said it. Doesn't that sound kind of nice, though, too? A lumbar support pillow. I could use one of those. If you think you know who said that line, you can go to yrchat.com to leave your guess. And if you get it right, I will give you your shout out on next week's Y&R Chat. Well, I hate to do this, but I'm going to have to cut chat short. I'm really sorry. This one kind of got busted, and my thoughts I'm scattered. I hope I still did a good job covering the storylines that I could. Gosh, this is definitely not how I planned this week's chat to go, especially because I am taking a little bit of a trip. I'm kind of excited about it, but it's going to take me away from my Y&R for a little bit. I'm going to get back in time, I think, to watch all 5 of the episodes and do a Y&R chat next Sunday, but it's probably going to be audio only, and it's probably also going to be quick. So I wanted to give you guys a full Y&R chat this week, at least. I didn't want to do 2 weeks with just audio, but it is what it is. I'm gonna be, just imagine me off at the Abbott cabin, just snapping off pieces of imported Belgian chocolate, the wind blowing in my hair. It's gonna be fabulous. Oh, I deserve a break, darn it. Okay, well, I mean, all my laptop's running out of juice, so I got to get going. I'm so sorry, but I would still love to get your comments this week. YRChat.com is the website, of course, if you want to leave a comment on the blog. You can also leave comments on Facebook and Twitter and YouTube, and you can call into my voicemail at 309-588-4569. I hope everybody has a good week, and I will be back in audio version, unless something happens and I'm able to like blow through the episodes, but probably expect just a podcast next week, and I will be thinking of you guys while I'm away. I love you.